Hello and welcome to the show. In today's video, I will share with you the probably top 5 advanced aiming settings that have been absolute game changers for me when it comes to my gameplay in Call of Duty Black Ops 6 multiplayer game. Now, making adjustments to these settings, I personally experienced improved aim and thus much better accuracy at medium to long range gunfights. So, with that all being said, it is important to note I will share with you the settings, but you are going to have to fine tune those settings according to your level of play and your style of play. So, this is not necessarily a copy my settings video. I think that is a mistake that I actually made when I first started playing about a month or two ago is I started copying the settings of very, very good players. And well, I'm a new player, so for me to copy those settings was totally out of line because I was nowhere near that level of play. And so for me, it was a little frustrating that I was struggling, but in reality, it was the settings that were holding me back. So with that all in mind, let's get right into the weeds. Alright, so we start over here on Call of Duty Black Ops 6 multiplayer home screen, and if you come up here to the little cog in the right hand corner, that will bring us to the settings once we give that a click. And from here we have a few options. We're going to start out today over on graphics, and so we give that a click, and then we have a couple options across the top. We want to click on view, and then if we scroll down, we get to our first setting to make changes to, and that's first person camera movement and third person camera movement. We want to set that to least 50%. The default is 100%. We want to set that to least 50%. And what that will do is eliminate some of the camera shake when there are explosions going off around you in the game. And you better believe everyone is throwing explosives these days in the game. And so adjusting this setting down to least 50% will reduce that camera shake. Now, if we scroll back up, still under the View tab, we come to Field of View or FOV. And this setting, I would say you want to set somewhere between 90, which I think is the default, or 100. I've seen a lot of pros crank this out to 120. That didn't work for me because everything within the view became smaller, meaning my enemies looked really small on the screen. And I get it. You want to see as much of the field of view as possible. However, if the targets are tiny, you might not see that target. So I bumped this down to 100, and I have found that setting to work for me. Now, along with this setting, to get a true field of view, we need to adjust the ADS field of view. And I have this set to affected, and that appears to give me a value closer to the field of view setting. So affected will give me a closer resemblance of this field of view. Whereas if you select independent, you would get ADS zooms the field of view to its usual value. So you'll be a little more zoomed in if you go with independent. I have been running effective and seems to be working just fine. And then the last setting we'll take a look at under view will be your weapon field of view. And for me, I run with the wide setting because it makes the weapon look smaller, and that then opens up more of the field of view for me. And if you go with, say, narrow, then the weapon looks bigger, and then it might actually block some of your field of view. So in this case, weapon field of view, I run with wide. Now that's going to wrap it up for the graphics. Now we want to jump over here to the controller. And just as a quick note, I actually use a PlayStation style controller, but these settings will apply to either because I have also run an Xbox version controller as well. And these settings are universal across either one of these controllers. Now, under the controller tab itself, if we come down here to horizontal and vertical stick sensitivities, I have mine set at 1.49, and I didn't start at 1.49. I actually started with a much higher number because you'll see a lot of the YouTube pros what have you, running this at 1.7, 1.8, and that was just way too high of a setting for me. Now, with that all being said, the default settings for these is 120. But like I mentioned, I started at 130 and I've been working my way up. Now I'm comfortable at 1.49. I think your sweet spot is going to be around somewhere between 1.4 to 1.8, depending on your skill level with these controllers. If you're real comfortable with controllers, you might be at that higher end of the spectrum. If you're new to controllers like I am, I've only been gaming for a couple months and using these type of controllers for the first time ever, and I have less than a month of gameplay on each one of these controllers. I started out with the Xbox style and switched to my go-to, which is now the PlayStation style. So as I become more comfortable with the stick sensitivity, odds are I will continue to bump this up, but I think the default of 120 is more than likely going to be too low for most players, so make your adjustments accordingly. Next, we want to jump over here to the aiming tab. This is where you need to make sure you have ADS aim assist turned on and target aim assist turned on. You will get a little bit of assistance from the software in your aiming by having these two items turned on. And you also want to make sure your motion sensor is turned off. But more importantly, that both of your aim assist options are turned on. Once you confirm those are turned on, then you can jump over here to the aiming advanced settings, give that a click, and under ADS sensitivity transitioning time, you have a few options. You have instant, gradual, and after zoom. Most of your pros or top YouTubers, what have you, are going to be running gradual. And I did run gradual for a long time. But eventually I decided to try out instant, and I instantly saw improvement in my aim and accuracy. And so the instant option, basically your sensitivity multiplier is applied immediately when aiming down sights. And so my style of play is when I see an enemy, I swing right onto him. And by having this set to instant, I seem to snap onto him. Or with gradual, when I would swing towards the enemy, it would gradually swing over there and snap onto him. It wasn't bad, but I found the instant setting instantly snapped onto my target. So for me, instant is what I run. The next setting I changed, which dramatically helped improve my aim, was aim response curve type, and that I have currently set at standard. Now, again, if you watch a lot of YouTube videos, most of your top players or pros, what have you, are running dynamic. And I've run dynamic, and it did work, but again, switching to standard has been a game changer. My accuracy has improved noticeably. So for me, I run standard. And in reality, take a look at the specs for each one of these settings. Standard is ideal for new players. That's me. I'm brand new to gaming, less than 2 months playtime. There was no justification for me to be running dynamic, which is ideal for more experienced players. So for me to be running dynamic was totally out of line. Switching to standard, which is again ideal for new players, and I probably have a slower starting movement that speeds up over the aiming rate, which does sound like my style of aiming. And so I think the standard setting combined with the instant setting under my ADS sensitivity transitioning timing has improved my aim and accuracy considerably. Now, under the aim response curve type, you can adjust the aim response curve slope scale. However, I leave this set at the maximum and seems to be working just fine. And so those would be the adjustments I would make under the aiming advanced settings. Now, a little bit of a bonus for y'all. Sensitivity multiplier, I've been playing around with this, and I have found that keeping these settings consistent seems to be a good idea. And right now, I've been working my way down from the default, which I believe is 1. Now, I've been giving a few different settings a shot, but most importantly is the ADS sensitivity multiplier and ADS sensitivity multiplier in focus. And both of these two I currently run at zero point 0.9. I think the default is 1. Yeah, you can see the default is 1. And so I've been working my way down off of that 1, and it seems to make the stick sensitivity while aiming down sight improve a little bit. And keep in mind that's in combination with all my other settings. I think these sensitivities will help assist those other settings, but that's kind of a bonus. I don't know how valuable this is, but as you can see, I have all the settings the same, as the two most important in my opinion are the ADS settings. And so I keep everything running at the same setting. And so I think that pretty much wraps it up. Those are the settings I have made changes to, and they've been an absolute game changer as far as my aiming and accuracy go. So with that all being said, if this video helped you at all, perhaps you could spike a like. If you like these type of videos, maybe you could shoot the subscribe button so you don't miss out on future videos. Also, if you have any settings you have made adjustments to that you think we should take a look at, drop them down in the comment section below, along with any questions you might have. And so in closing, I think we'll wrap this up with a quote from Miyamoto Musashi, and that quote is a favorite of mine, and I think it really applies to this particular video. And the quote is as follows: "You must understand there is more than one path to the top of the mountain." So with that being said, we'll see you in the next video.